Tesla Model 3 production numbers are pretty surprising, and especially the first week of Q2. I'm going to tell you why. Also, trade wars with China are going kind of pretty good. They're major news. I wasn't even sure which news I should really feature as on my thumbnails as the main news story. So we're going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it more about veganism. A vegan diet, because I believe that was a pretty good idea to compare it to electric car movement. But you had some interesting comments, so we're gonna address this as well. Let's get going right now.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, electric.
Okay, so first of all, if you're watching this in the replay on YouTube, please go ahead and click the subscribe button to join our community. And if you're watching this on Patreon Live, welcome. Welcome, and of course I'll implement the chat right here. Good to see Ben and Michael joining early. Let's talk about Tesla Model 3 ramp up. You know, as we all expected that after Q4 ended, and you know, they claimed 1,000 Model 3s produced, and the production then fell because obviously they were trying to inflate the numbers to meet their goal, and the same was kind of expected this time around. They claimed to make 2,020 of them, and I have to say, I thought it was going to be a disaster. I think the Q1 report was really just going to be a really bad news, but they managed to get it closer than we all thought. They managed to have 2 in front of it, and it looks like everybody was kind of like, oh, okay, close enough, and we kind of accepted it and moved on. So that was but we did expect that these numbers were going to drop. They did register insane a number of wins though at the end of what, last week? Oh no, yeah, at the end of last. So we were wondering, whoa, are they really going to ramp it up? But now it does look like they are ramping up for real. And Bloomberg is kind of has a little web page there where they're keeping track of it. And I wasn't really sure if they were right on the money or not, but now that we have all the numbers kind of after the Q1, and it looks like they're only off at most by 10%. And what they're saying right now is that the Tesla is almost at 2,400 production this week, and I expected they could drop back to about 1,500. This is a major difference from what I thought the expectations were. And as I said before, as you can see, there are estimates in there, and the reality is very close. And we're getting closer and closer to that ramp-up curve. We've been talking about Grumman engineering equipment that I'm assuming that's what's helping a lot right now. Just overall production ramp-up, that's how they've done it with the Model S and the Model X. So it does look like they're picking up, and it's not really going back down. And if that's really the case, producing 5,000 per week, you know, in another 3 months almost, really doesn't seem to be that crazy anymore. And I have to say that kudos to them for being able to kind of stick around and work really hard and I guess, well, I wouldn't say they control the bad news, but to kind of get through bad news quickly. And yeah, I'm telling you, I'm surprised. So kudos to them. We're gonna and you guys can watch it every day. They have it live at Bloomberg.com as a Model 3 tracker. And now I'm gonna pay a little bit more attention to it, because now that we know it's pretty precise, more or less, at least one of the more precise trackers out there. Let's see what happens in the next week. I'm really excited to see them ramping up. I've said it many times. Every day as I drive around here in Silicon Valley, I see a Model 3 per day. So they're real, and they're here. All right, so let's talk about the other major news. Before that, of course, I want to remind you that this show and this channel is sponsored by Avanex, your aftermarket accessories for Tesla. The discount code in the description of this video, just in case if you guys want to shop there and save a few bucks. All right, trade wars with China. This is something that Donald Trump had on his agenda for a long time. A lot of people thought it was a really bad idea, but one guy who thought it was kind of a good idea was Elon Musk, who tweeted at Donald Trump a while back saying, hey dude, you know, well, he didn't say hey dude, but he was basically saying, hey, that's very unfair that I have to pay 25% tariff when I import my cars to China, and when they or any other country imports their cars here, they have to pay 10 times less. Right? And, you know, I mean, he has a point. It's, of course, the issue is much more complicated than just that. So Trump and China started going back and forth. Kind of Trump put a bunch of tariffs for real, including on steel, I believe, and definitely on solar panel imports. And so China replied in kind, and what they were saying a couple of days ago looked like they were going to double the tariff on the imported cars, which would make it insane. Now, granted that even with a 25% tariff, Tesla has done pretty good in China. They sold $2 billion worth of cars in China in 2017, which is twice as many as the year before. So they're doing pretty good, but at the same time, it's hard to compete with Chinese-based companies. There are a lot of them coming out with pretty decent electric cars, but also it's tough to compete with companies who have to partner up by Chinese regulations that, if you want to make cars in China, you have to partner up with Chinese company. You can own more than 50% of that and so forth. Now today, China all of a sudden kind of completely reversed it when everybody thought, oh my God, Tesla is screwed. And so they said, hey, listen, we're actually going to ease up the tariffs on American cars. And well, I guess all foreign cars, imported cars. Now, we don't know by how much, but first of all, not increasing them, that's good news for Tesla, because everybody was like, oh crap, they're really screwed. Decreasing them by any really a significant percentage would definitely help Tesla. It's like issuing a extra rebate for Tesla cars there, or any important cars in China. As you know, China is just about to implement a mandate next year that the 10% of all cars that are made or imported there have to be electric cars. So, companies been gearing up for that. Now, Elon Musk, of course, jumped in and said, hey, he obviously supports this. He said it was a very important action. But he says avoiding a trade war will benefit all countries. Well, you're one of the guys who started it, and we're in the middle of trade war, sort of. So too late for that. But nevertheless, listen, it's been working out pretty good for us. They haven't done or signed anything, but looks like we might be going in the right direction. By the way, let me thank all of my Patreons who are supporting me on Patreon, and that's where I live stream now. YouTubers, people on YouTube, the YouTube viewers still get my videos every day. I just repost them within an hour or two. But if you do want to watch this live, please go ahead and join me at patreon.com/E4Electric. All right, here's another story, and this is a company that I don't think too many of you have heard of. They were kind of under the radar, even though they've been kind of announcing prototypes and so forth. So Pininfarina, and it's a Mahindra, Indian company, owns that, and it's a design company in Italy that a lot of times just helps other companies design it. The most famous one is probably Ferrari. Then there's a Chinese-based company called Hybrid Kinetic Group, and they are trying to go into the Chinese market with electric cars. Now, they've announced a partnership where both of them kind of came up with a few prototypes and designs together, and they're just unveiling yet another one that they're going to present at the Beijing Auto Show in China at the end of the month. I might actually be going there. I don't know yet, but it looks like I might just go there and report from there for you guys. That's why Patreons are very important to me. You guys are kind of supporting my travels and my ability to report to you guys from all over the world. And so this guy, they haven't announced that much, but it's going to have a range extender that will be able to get it to almost 600 miles, though the battery is kind of small, 200 kilowatt hour. But the range extender is going to be able to take all kinds of fuel, gas, diesel, and I think hydrogen fuel cells. So that's from what I understand. That would be kind of cool, but again, I would rather see a full electric car. We don't know anything about the price, but they will unveil it in China at the end of the month. This is what the interior looks like. A luxury sedan, obviously, to compete with a Model S or whatever other competitors are coming onto the market. But we'll see. Obviously, it's a hybrid car, and looks like the range may not be that long, but they are making news, and they will unveil their car in a couple of weeks. By the way, if you want to help out this video, please give it a thumbs up. I will really appreciate it. The interview schedule is, I'm very excited about it. Just had Robert Bollinger last week. Rich is from Rich Rebuilds is going to be here on Saturday. I have so many questions for him. Definitely, this is where you Patreons will get a lot of benefit out of there. By then, I'll have the chat working here. So you guys will be able to ask him questions as well. Looking forward to it. Then the road trip, and then Zach and Jesse here with me as well. So yeah, very excited about Rich. So I'm hoping to have an extended conversation with him because he's just too much knowledge for a short interview, right? Anyway, definitely good, looking forward to that. Let's move on to the comment of the day, and this one comes from somebody from Ron, who predicted his comment being featured as comment of the day. Actually, the reason I picked it is because the conversation we had yesterday and in the comment section about me comparing electric car movement to a vegan diet sparked a lot of interesting comments, and he kind of incorporating this by saying, Alex, electric cars are becoming mainstream delicious. Well, so let me revise what I was saying and kind of clarify it a little bit. The reason I'm comparing a vegan movement to electric cars is because, you know, almost no people were vegans. There were almost no vegan restaurants in most cities. No vegan aisles or menu items in mainstream restaurants. Just, you know, but in the last 3 or 4 years, there are 6 times as many of people who are claiming to be vegans. Way more new restaurants popping out there. I think most of us know a few people who are vegans. And that's what a lot of you said in the comment section. Say, oh, wait a second, I'm a vegan, and there are a bunch of restaurants now. Granted, but when we started with a tiny little amount of vegans, just like we started with tiny little amount of people who wanted or loved electric cars, even when you multiplied it by 6 or 10, you still have a tiny little percentage. And this is why I'm kind of saying that this is very similar. Yes, the electric car movement grew by, there were no Tesla service centers or superchargers or just Tesla cars on the road, you know, 6-7 years ago. And now there's a lot, but altogether it's still very little. And it comes down to practicality for most people, right? Most people who buy electric cars and especially hybrid cars don't really care about them being electric cars environment. That just has to make sense to them, either better quality or make more financial sense for them, right? A lot of people bought electric cars just because it's cheaper, because they don't have to spend as much money on gas. It's a compact car, they can park it better in their incentives and so forth. So a lot of people who are buying electric cars and will in the future, that has to make sense to them. And a lot of people are not buying electric cars just because it's not making sense to them, right? They're not able to get a charging station at their home. They don't have fast charging network outside of Tesla superchargers. Some of these cars are pretty expensive. Obviously, Tesla is an expensive car. It doesn't make financial sense to them. Same thing with vegan diet. Me, somebody who is very open to a vegan diet, I don't mind, but I require 2 things. Just like people who would in the future drive electric cars. 1, I want this food to be more delicious than the food I eat right now. And then to me, it's not. Yes, I know a lot of you guys believe it is. But to me and almost 5% of other people, it is not. So and with electric car, the same, right? It appeals to 1% of us, but 99% still are not sold. And same thing with availability. I don't see that many vegan restaurants. I don't see that many sections in the in my grocery store that I shop that would cater to that. So I don't want to worry about where I'm going to supercharge my stomach. I need to make sure that if I go out to lunch, or if I order off of the menu at any restaurant, or if I go grocery shopping, I'll be able to buy something without, you know, having to chase this like a drug addict. So I think that this, and again, you're welcome to submit more comments, but please understand, I'm not saying that vegan diet has not been like skyrocketing. It has been. But it's been skyrocketing within a tiny little segment of the population. It plateaued just like electric cars, because we do need to make another step of making it much better than the gas cars, and much more affordable and obviously accessible to fast charging and just charging in general. So let this conversation range on in the comment section. I really appreciate it. Ben in the chat room is asking, Alex, are Sundays going to use Patreon for chat? Absolutely. I'm going live on Patreon every day now. You guys can participate. I can show you what kind of the chat room may look like. Well, it's not really working right now, so I thought I had it sort of working, but I will get it going in the next few days, so it will be just like good old days. So yeah, and you guys will obviously be able to ask live questions of the guests and of me, and we'll have a hangout on Sunday as well. So very interesting. I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation with you guys. So yeah, let's get that comment section going. Other than that, I will see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.